Now, when we move on from here, when if we take observation and we look at how we can look at observation in the context of a site. So, here is a video, okay, and I am just assume that I am just walking at this site, and I am going to be able to observe my workers. So, you can see here we are, it's on top of a slab. There is quite a bit of work being done. I can see some workers there, they are supposed to be tying reinforcement, the guys who are sitting there, but they are right now idle. Okay, so, this is an observation. Here there are a couple of people, one's a supervisor, worker, they seem to be discussing some work, few supervisors again discussing something, workers standing idle. So, these are observations I am making when I am walking on a site. There is another worker standing idle and yet another one standing idle. The guys who are tying reinforcement are again seem to be waiting for materials there. Okay, so, these are observations that I am making on a quick walk on site. So, here is a couple of workers who are covering the slab, doing curing activity, classifying as curing, and again someone moving the hose, doing curing. Now, I am going to stop the video at this for any questions which people might have, anything. Do these classifications seem right? So, when I am only watch the video for a few seconds and I am able to judge what people are doing on site. Okay, if we now go back to what, if I now take those observations and make it more formal, I am going to walk on a site as you saw activities being categorized. So, I am going to categorize those activities just as you saw on the video, and we are trying to make this correlation between the activity level, the level of waste and productivity. So, the question with work sampling comes, can I make an observation not just for 30 seconds, but in a systematic way when I am on a site, and based on that can I categorize the levels of waste and potentially the productivity. That is where we are trying to take this kind of tool or concept. Any other questions? Okay. So, when we look at work sampling versus our productivity measurement system. So, we saw productivity measurement system is something that is a documented approach. Okay. So, this is documentation, document and reports, okay, and this was observation. Okay. Now, given that this is observation, so now how long do you think it takes for a document and report to give your productivity, to measure productivity? How much time do you think it takes?
You can make weekly report, monthly report.
Okay, might be it is weekly. Yeah, you would like it daily, but it takes weekly or monthly to actually compile. The report comes in daily, I mean the data comes in daily. With more and more automation, this is becoming faster, but otherwise it is probably end of the week or end of the month or even bi-weekly. Okay. How long do you think it will take for me to get an observation based report? If I do an observation, I am almost expecting this to come daily. So, one of the reasons for using an observation based report is that I will generally get a much faster first hand information on the activity level on site. I am not talking about productivity, I am only saying it is the activity level on site. If I do the observations properly, I will get a first hand information on the activity level on site. Okay, and if that gives me some indication of productivity, it is a faster monitoring time for me to take control. Okay, and in many contexts work sampling, and it is not work sampling or productivity measurement system, it is always work sampling and productivity measurement system, because you need both. Work sampling is just a kind of a little bit of a different way of looking at activity. Sometimes productivity does not tell you the whole story. Okay, we will go a little more into that. So, if you go into the details of work sampling, there are two methods to do work sampling. One is the tour based approach, the other is the crew based approach. Okay, a tour based approach, like what you saw just now, you are going through the whole site or particular specific areas. There are mixed type of work happening, not any specific type of work you are targeting. You are targeting the site as an overall project, and you are trying to look at activity level from the project point of view. When you take a crew based approach, you are looking at specific crew. Okay, it could be ducting work, it could be electrical work, it could be form work. You are saying, look, I want to study a specific crew and see what their activities are. And for those crew, you will then be mainly observing it only you can do crew based on a specific crew, or you can do say form work crew across in many locations. That depends. So, we call it the crew based approach or the modified crew based approach. Okay. Now, there are many ways you can adapt work sampling. The basic concept is observation and some kind of data you are getting from observation. The many adaptations you can do, we will come to some of that as we go through this session. Now, when I am going to look at the site, let me take the tour based approach first. Okay, I can do a tour based approach. As I am walking, I can do a random approach, which is what is generally suggested. I take data on a random basis, or I can take data on a tour based support on a periodic basis, which means, look, I will make an observation every 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Some kind of period is associated. The only reason I am recommending a period based approach is when we, or even you start with the periodic approaches, when we say random based approach, people have difficulty in what is to be randomized. So, just as a initial step, people can try periodic. We will cover both of this. Now, when you do this sampling, you have to look at many issues: sample size, sample time. We will address the concept of sampling also as we go through, but this becomes a very important aspect. When you take a crew based approach, now remember, I am looking at only a specific crew. Okay, again, the preferred approach is a random sample. Okay, but when we try and suggest random sampling to many of the projects, they have a difficulty in doing random sampling. So, we say, look, you do periodic sampling, or you even start with a continuous sample so that you get confidence in how to do a random sample. Okay, and we will kind of cover all of this as we go in. Now, once we do sampling, what we ultimately want to do is to classify the work into these three categories which we have covered before, which is value added, non value added but necessary, and non value added. So, these would be the general categories, the most broadest categories you want to come out of a work sampling study. So, all of these approaches can do these classifications. Okay, this might look a little crowded, but basically in any of these approaches I would like to get this, and as at a very broad level, this is my main output. When we say, obviously this correlates to waste, correct. So, if I get a lot of value added work, the more the value added, I am assuming my waste is less. Okay, I am assuming my waste is less. So, as I come out with my samples and I do my calculation, I want to see where my activity levels are. If there is a large amount of non value added, that means my waste is more. Okay, this category is always a question mark, okay, because of many, it is non value added but necessary. How can you avoid it? These are discussions and debates we need to have. In many ways, to reduce this would be also good, okay, and there are some ways we are able to do that.